So, I've written a book. Most of you already know that. I am an artist. Most of you already know that. That's kind of what this entire channel is about. But now that I am about to publish this book, I am set with a couple interesting conundrums that I wanted to talk a little bit about today. For those of you who don't know, I started this releasing this book through the traditional publishing industry and then towards indie publishing, and I am now self-publishing. The reasons were all personal. It's because that I wanted to retain a certain amount of creative control that these publishing companies would not allow me, which is completely fine. They have their own bottom lines and their own motives, and I have mine. And I'm really, really excited about the way that this has been turning out and the way that it's been going for me. My book is in its final round of proofreads. It is formatted. It is done. My book is done and ready for release, except for the cover. Obviously, I'm going to do the cover. I'm an artist. That's my thing. I still have not landed on what my design, like as I'm recording this video, I still don't know what I'm going to do for the cover. I have a couple ideas for it. I am behind. It is the last thing I need to do, and I need to land on something fast. But what I have landed on is what I'm going to do for the spine. And I'm so excited about it because I was up in the air about this, and I've made the decision, and I'm really comfortable and happy with it. So this is what I'm going to do for the spine of my first book of Stone and Steel. It is Fenric's sword, who is my protagonist, for those of you who don't know. I'm not going to do the scabbard, just the sword on the spine. And I'm really excited about it because I know for a fact that on the traditional side of things, they would not allow me to do this, and same with the indie side. It's not industry standard. You know, what industry standard is, you know, you would go to a marketing team, you would decide on a stylized font, presumably the title of your book, you would throw it on the spine in hopes of capturing your audience's attention. And, you know, we can have a conversation all the live long day about how effective that is, but I think that this is more effective. I think that I'm onto something. And you can tell me if I'm wrong. I might just be projecting my habits as a consumer and as a reader onto, I guess, my readers and you guys, but I think that I'm onto something with this. At least in my mind, if you're perusing a bookstore and you are faced with a wall of words and you're meant to choose between them, I think that it's advantageous to be an abnormality in an otherwise normal setting. Like if you just see a book with a sword on it with like nothing else, that might provoke your curiosity, at least enough to pick it up off the shelf, which is ultimately all I'm trying to do with the spine of my book. I just want you to pick it up. And I think that this is an effective way of doing that. Again, I could be wrong, but guess what? I'm self-publishing. I'm allowed to take these risks. It's fun. I get to do it all on my own. And this is the way we're going to do it. And it's also fun just because I think that this is the most authentic way to represent my work. You know, I've put so much time into these drawings and into this novel, and I think that this is just a more apt representation of the piece itself than, you know, being safe and writing, you know, my name or the title of the book on the side of it, regardless of how cool I think it is. I'm really excited about this. And just being able to make this decision it's just made me really comfortable in my decision to self-publish rather than do anything else. I'm really excited that it was a scary decision, but I'm really excited that I did choose to make it. And, you know, I think that it's just, I think that there's so much clutter around the cover of novels these days, and I'm excited that I don't have to deal with that. I don't even need to deal with like a publisher's watermark. I get to just put what I want on the cover of this novel, and I know it's not considered industry standard, and some people might even deem it to be unprofessional, but I'm not really approaching the aesthetic of this work from the lens of an author or a writer. I'm doing it from the lens of an artist, which is what I've always been. You know, I've been an artist for far longer than I've been an author, and I'm really excited that like I get to just present this like it's a portfolio. It's not even considered a picture book. The novel is 140,000 words, and it's going to have like 20 of my drawings in it and stuff like this. For you guys who haven't been around the channel, it's all ballpoint pen sketches that I've done, I mean, all over the world at this point, but they're just sketches of my characters and like settings within my world. And I'm really excited that I get to include all of that and that I've retained the creative freedom to do so. And I want the cover of this novel to, to represent that. And I think that that goes a little bit into just, how little we take risks in the publishing industry. And that's not really meant to be too much of a critique, I guess, because I understand that publishing houses, and even more so like indie publishing houses, they have to keep the lights on, right? There's certain things that they cannot afford to do, and some of those things were working with me in the way that I wanted to, market and sell these books. I understand, like, me going to a small indie house who has people that needs to employ and who needs to stay afloat as a business. They aren't able to take the risks that I as an individual am. But I think that that's just interesting, because what happens is we get pigeonholed into kind of just releasing the same thing over and over again. And that's not necessarily speaking about the narrative within the book, but I don't know. I'm an artist. I get really into like books with cool covers, and I like, the books. Y'all can't see it, but my bookshelf is right here, and I like seeing the diversity of things on my wall. And it's just interesting that, I've got a book on my wall right now. The book itself is phenomenal, but on the inside of it, it has the handle for the author's Instagram. And I thought that was such an odd decision. It makes sense in the modern scope of publishing, but in my mind, it seems like it makes the work a lot less timeless. And that might be a super pretentious take. I'm sorry if it is, or if you feel that way, but I don't really enjoy that. I don't enjoy like all of the clutter we see on some of novels today. Like, my book won't really have, my book doesn't have any reviews, and there's no one singing its praises right now because very few people have read it, and the people who have read it are my friends and family. So, but even if it did, I don't think that would include that stuff on the cover of my novel, because that's just not really my style. And I think that it's fun that I've gotten to retain this and to do it the way that I want to as an artist. I'm super, super excited for it. Like I said, I'm feeling the pressure right now. My book is set to release next month. It's in a wonderful state. I'm super excited for it. I have not started on the cover. That's it. I have 3 ideas, all of which I think would be super cool. I've toyed with the idea of releasing it with multiple covers, but that's just, I don't have the time to do 3 distinct cover arts before it's released, which is, that's okay. I have also toyed with the idea of letting another artist take a crack at doing the cover for my book, just because I like to support artists. I am one, and I do not work in the digital sphere at all. I am strictly a traditional artist, and I think that if someone wanted something more akin to that on the cover of their book, it'd be kind of cool to employ a digital artist to do something like that. But I'm definitely going to obviously release one with my own work as the cover. I'm really excited to do that. I don't know what I want to do. I guess that's another thing. You can let me know if you would like what you would prefer, if it was like a more stylized piece, or if it was like something like my character. I've thought about doing Fenric and Ekon, which are my 2 protagonists, Fenric being my main protagonist and Ekon kind of being my secondary point of view within the novel. I think that's the way I'm orienting towards as far as doing the cover, but we're working on it. We're getting there. And I think that it's fun. This whole process has, like, the formatting and the setting up my website and all of that stuff has not actually been all that fun. Like, learning the business side of being a creative has not been great, but I'm very happy that I chose to retain all of the creative rights that I did to not only the way that the narrative has unfolded within this book, but the way that I get to publish. I'm excited that I get to price my book the way that I want to, and I get to release my ebook for free. There's no one out there that was going to let me just give out my ebook for free. But at the end of the day, I already wrote this book, and I was gonna write this book and release it whether or not, you know, anybody, whether or not there was a market for it. I just do it because I love it. And now that the book is written, I have to sell the hard copies of my book. I'm required to. I cannot afford to buy my book and just give it out to people. But it costs me nothing. It costs me not a single dime to just put my ebook on my website and let people just download it, you know? And like, maybe if they read it and they want a hard copy, then it's a good introduction, you know? I'm really excited that I get to do that. And I'm really excited that I get to release this the way that I wanted to. So yeah, that's, I don't know. It's a very long way. It's a 10-minute way of saying I've landed on the spine of my book. I know what I'm going to do. Let me know if you think it's going to work. I might be projecting there. It doesn't really matter. I've decided I'm doing it, but I'm curious. There might be a part 2 to this video. I think there actually will be, just because my book is going to exist in my local bookstore for now. That's the only one, but they're excited about the book. They've said they'll stock it on their shelves, and I might go incognito mode and like film people as they're perusing and just see how many people pick up the book, not necessarily how many people buy it, because I'm just trying to see how many people pick it up because of the sword on the spine. But yeah, you know, that's it for me today.